Okay, this is a screencast on the two poems by Paul Lawrence Dunbar that I ask you to read, Sympathy and We Wear the Mask. And from your lecture notes, you'll remember that Paul Lawrence Dunbar was a Harlem Renaissance poet and lived very much in a time where there was a lot of issues happening, especially in areas of the South with segregation and slavery had been, with the Emancipation Proclamation, the end of the Civil War, and slaves were freed, but then they were never really freed from their oppression because then they had to live through segregation and racial discrimination, the Jim Crow laws. And so, um, this really is. These two poems are very much about those issues that the African American was facing at the time. In this particular poem, we have a bird, and it's a caged bird, and typically a bird is a symbol for freedom. It is, we have the American eagle is the symbol of freedom in America. And so typically when we see a bird who's free to fly about as he chooses, we have a symbol of freedom. But that's not the case for our bird here in our poem. Begins in nature. We have, he says, I know what the cage bird feels, alas, when the sun is bright on the upland slopes, when the wind stirs soft through the springing grass, and the river flows like a stream of glass, when the first bird sings and the first bird bud opes, the faint perfume from its chalice steals, I know what the cage bird feels. So we have all of this nature on the outside where we have the sun and the mountains and the wind and the grass and the river and this bird that's singing in nature because he's free. But that's not what our bird is. Meanwhile, our cage bird inside is denied all of these pleasures. I know why the cage bird beats its wing till its blood is red on the cruel bars, for he must fly back to his perch and cling, and he would fain, when he fain would be on the bough a swing, and a pain still throbs in the old scars, and they pulse again with a keener sting. I know why he beats his wing. Our cage bird is denied that freedom, and in reaction, day after day, he beats his wings until they are literally bloody against the bars of his cage. And he repeats this so frequently that he's building scars upon scars as he is opening these wounds up over and over again as he's beating his wings against the bars. And he also sings. He says, I know why the cage bird sings on me when his wing is bruised and his bosom sore, when he beats his bars and he would be free. It is not a carol of joy or glee, but a prayer that he sends from his heart's deep core, but a plea that upward to heaven he flings. I know why the cage bird sings. And so he's also singing, but the song that he's singing is not that bird in the first stanza that's singing with his freedom. It's his plea. It's his prayer that he's sending upward to heaven, and like it kind of falls on deaf ears. um Still though he doesn't lose hope. He tries day after day to try to get his freedom. And our speaker, which is really our author here, he sympathizes with the cage bird. We see the word knows multiple times. I know what the cage bird feels. I know why the cage bird beats his wing. I know why the cage bird sings. He empathizes with the bird's struggle. He's lived this life. He's been deprived of his natural and fundamental rights, and his voice has been choked and unheard, and he's fought with no purchase. He's gaining no purchase, but he never loses hope, and will continue to do so until he gains his freedom. Let's switch gears and let's take a look at We Were the Mask, which is inherently a little bit darker than our first poem here. So this is a three stanza rondeau. which is a French lyric form. It consists of a quintet, a quatrain, and a sestet. So that's a 5 line, a 4 line, and a 6 line there for you. The rhyme scheme for you there is A A B B A A A B C A A B A C. We wear the mask that grins and lies. It hides our cheeks and shades our eyes. This debt we pay to human guile. With torn and bleeding hearts we smile and mouth with myriad subtleties. Why should the world be overwise in counting all our tears and sighs? Nay, let them only see us while we wear the mask. We smile, but oh, great Christ, our cries to thee from tortured souls arise. We sing, but oh, the clay is vile beneath our feet, and long the mile, but let the world dream otherwise. So the we in our poem here is all humankind. Specifically, he meant this for the African Americans, but we all are this way. We all wear the mask that grin and lies. Um, we readily put on other faces depending on the situations that we are in. We grin to get by in uncomfortable situations, and we lie when we need to pretend to be something that we aren't. And everyone does this. And so these masks, they hide our true selves. They hide our cheeks and shade our eyes, and they keep us at a distance from everything around us, from our surroundings. And so that human guile that he's talking about there in line 3 refers to our overwhelming trait of deceitfulness. It's especially in these times, it's nearly impossible for us to get through life as ourselves, like our true selves. And as a result, we're continually putting on masks to fit in or to be something that we're not, just to escape being targeted for being different. And you think about that in your own personal life, and there's not a time in your life probably that you can think of um, that you haven't tried to be something that you really weren't, for the benefit of society or the benefit of your friends or your peer groups, because you don't want to stand out, and you want to blend in. And so we put those masks on, to get through life, eh, while hiding our true selves. And so in the last 2 lines of that first stanza, we learned that is a price that pays a you have to pay a price for that. And it extends, those masks that we wear extend all the way to our hearts, and it causes our hearts to tear and bleed even as we're smiling. And so we pay a price for living. No one can sustain living as someone else or living behind a mask for so long. And so in the second stanza, he begins by asking that rhetorical question: why should the world be overwise in counting all our tears and sighs? Nay, let them only see us while we wear the mask. Rhetorical question, he doesn't expect to receive an answer. It's mainly just to get us to take a more introspective look at ourselves and to consider the state of the world and to question the state of ourselves. The world doesn't care. There are too many troubles in the world to count. Everybody has pain and everybody has struggle and trouble. But society doesn't take any time to see beneath that mask, to consider the truth. They only see that surface us that we are while we wear the mask. So he was likely, obviously, referring to the struggle of African Americans. They're trying to achieve equal rights, they're trying to overcome segregation, their social injustice, racial violence, all while obscuring their true faces behind the lies and the grins, to try to get society to accept them. And so society, though, doesn't accept that. They accept the lies and the grins, because they're either ignorant or they are doing it by choice. They don't care. And so we see that there that we know that that's going to cause a toll in the long run. In the final stanza, he says, "We smile, but O great Christ, our cries to thee from tortured souls arise. We sing, but oh the clay is vile beneath our feet, and long the mile, but let the world dream otherwise. We wear the mask." So we're smiling. We're still smiling. We're overcoming the pain. Um, to put on that face for society. We still sing, but our souls are tortured. It's causing us pain. And the ground that we stand on, the ground beneath our feet, is vile, he says. That means it's unsteady, it's dangerous, and we can only overcome that for a period of time. Um, that clay beneath our feet, that vile clay, lasts for miles and miles on end. It's unending. Um, and that last statement there, but let the world dream otherwise. We wear the mask. They are oblivious to the pain. They don't care about the pain while we continue to wear the mask. And so, is this a call for removing the masks and letting the world see us for our true selves and accept us for our true selves? Is it a cry for just to be recognized for our true selves, in relation to his situation, when are we going to be seen as equal and the same underneath these masks?